With relations between Turkey and the United States, as well as with some NATO countries that have begun to move away due to Turkey's acquisition of Russia's Triumph S-400. Long-term progress is increasing air defense systems and very close relations with Russia. It now appears that Turkey can receive strong economic sanctions from its allies, in addition to those already imposed on Turkey. This might include cutting off U.S. access or even choosing NATO military technology for the two existing Turkish armed forces assets. But also in the Turkish defense industry, which includes large Turkish companies such as the Turkish aerospace industry, TAI, ASELSAN, Atakar, FNSS, and still much more. MaxDefense will not discuss further about the problem between Turkey and the U.S. because that is not the meat of this entry, nor has it anything to do with the Philippines. But it affects every weapon acquisition by the Philippines from the Turkish defense industry, given that some AFP modernization program projects are actually considered, shortlisted, or even selected Turkish defense products. One of them is the Philippine Air Force Atak helicopter acquisition project, which is the Phase 2 Horizon Priority project under the revised AFP modernization program. MaxDefense has discussed several times, and in our social media posts, that the Philippine Air Force Technical Working Group (TWG) for the AH project has selected T129 Atak attack helicopters after evaluating other offers including Bell AH-1Z Viper, Russian Mil helicopter Miles-28N Night Hunter and Mil Mi-35 Hind, Boeing AH-64E Apache Guardian, Airbus Tiger, and other models including light helicopters. Turkey has offered to supply around 7 to 8 AT-12 T129 units under a government-to-government (G2G) agreement based on a PHP 12.8 billion budget allocated by the Philippine Ministry of National Defense (DND) for the project, while also supplying more units to form a complete squadron based on soft loan agreements supported by the Turkish government. MaxDefense previously supported the acquisition of Atak T129 because it was an election and decision made by TWG and the PAF Defense Acquisition Systems Assessment Team itself, supported by Lieutenant General Commander Galileo Quintanar and approved by Delfin Lorenzana. Although MaxDefense heard that one of those involved in irregularities in the frigate acquisition project in 2016-2017 supported the sale of T129 for reasons that we believe were unusual. While the agreement looks good, Turkey is suddenly involved in political dissent with the US and other NATO allies over its decision to acquire Russia's Triumph S-400 long-range air defense system, which caused Turkey to be expelled from the Joint Strike Fighter F-35 program and obtain sanctions from the US and some NATO allies such as Britain. Sanctions include access to essential parts and subsystems for Atak T129 attack helicopters, such as the Rolls-Royce LHTEC-CTS-804A turboshaft engine, and several other avionics. Even after the acquisition of the S-400 by Turkey, it was clear that the US and Britain did not want to supply Turkey with the LHTEC turboshaft engine. This is clear with the T-129 order from Pakistan, although that was partly because Pakistan was also included in the U.S. government's protest list. MaxDefense sources from the defense industry confirmed that while Pakistan protested by the U.S. protests against Turkey itself also affected Pakistan's T-129 agreement. Obviously, the T-129 Atak attack helicopter is a good and affordable attack helicopter, no doubt. But political problems regarding Turkey will inevitably affect the T-129 agreement with the Philippines. So MaxDefense believes that it is best for the Philippines to stay away from the agreement and avoid the risk that Turkey cannot send helicopters to the Philippine Air Force because of their own problems with the supply of important helicopter components. MaxDefense received several confirmations from defense, military, and industry sources that came under T129 in the PAF evaluation as the actual Viper Bell AH-1Z, which, honestly, MaxDefense's own choice is based on our personal evaluation of the products offered. TWG and DASAT PAF rank Bell AH-1Z Viper Bell as the second best option, and according to our sources, the score is actually higher than a T129 Atak in terms of performance. The only reason he lost to T129 was because the price was more expensive to obtain, and was expected to be more expensive to survive than a T12 T129. So it's actually only because of money. While Thai offers to provide 7 to 8 T129 Atak attack helicopters based on the PAF budget, Bell Helic actually offers 5 AH-1Z Vipers at the same price. This is based on information that was updated since MaxDefense previously stated that Bell was only able to offer 3 to 4 units. This is actually 5 units. In addition, Bell also offered to help get U.S. government support in the U.S. Foreign Military Financing (USFMF) program, which made it possible to assist the Philippine DND for a soft loan package to obtain additional units to form a complete Viper AH-1Z squadron. In terms of performance, the Bell AH-1Z Viper beats the Thai T129 Atak, is faster, more agile, and has a better climbing rate. But the main advantage of AH-1Z Viper is that it is marinated, which means it is made with consideration of operating in a marine environment or near seawaters such as the Philippines. Recall that the AH-1Z was made taking into account the U.S. Marine Corps, with most helicopters based at sea on naval amphibious assault ships, or at U.S. Navy air bases near the coast. This is very important in the case of the Philippines because corrosion on aircraft is the deadliest enemy of all aircraft operated by the Philippine Armed Forces, even heavier than the Chinese military. Another advantage of the AH-1Z because it becomes a maritime helicopter is that it can safely and comfortably operate from any Navy ship with landing and hangar facilities. The rotor can be folded like a Philippine Navy helicopter, so it can be stored in hangars like those found on Del Pilar, Jose Rizal and Tarlac ships. PAF's introduction of operating and maintaining an older Viper ancestor, the AH-1Z Cobra single-engine Bell through donations made by the Jordanian government, actually helped PAF in understanding the whole Bell Cobra, Super Cobra, Viper family. While Viper does not share major components with the older Cobra, Viper does not share in opening a logistics train with Bell, which has been a distinct advantage because PAF has been a long-time customer of Bell helicopters because it operates venerable UH-1HP as well as Bell 205A and Bell 412HP EP utility helicopters. This is something that is not in Thai because PAF has no experience operating any aircraft made by Thai. With the U.S. being an AH-1Z user, PAF also benefits from U.S. assistance in supporting helicopters in the event of an emergency. Examples might include if PAF fails to secure enough spare parts for reasons out of control, or in training or improving the PAF personnel and pilot skills in operating AH-1Z Viper, similar to what the U.S. does with other similar assets operated by FP and the U.S. military. The AH-1Z Viper can be armed with a standard 2.75 guided rocket that already operates with PAF, as well as BAE Systems a PKWS-2 guided rocket, which will soon be introduced to AFP. It could also be armed with AGM-114 Hellfire missiles, which were confirmed by MaxDefense sources to be sold to PAF and DND. AH-1Z Viper is also said to be adaptable to use other ammunition such as the Elbit system GATR guided rocket, which was also introduced to PAF, as well as the standard rifles and rocket pods that have been used by PAF in its Augusta-Westland AW-109E Power, an MD helicopter MD-520MG Defender light attack helicopter. If DND decides to join the Viper, it will be under the U.S. Foreign Military Sales (USFMS) and the Foreign Military Financing Program (USFMF). And Bell can send the first batch of Viper as early as 2021. Apparently, the U.S. Navy Corps is allowed to divert several helicopters on the production line to PAF. Aside from the AH-1Z Viper's best attributes and the U.S. government offering to assist in procuring additional units through financing options, there are actually other reasons why it's best to go with Viper. MaxDefense received confirmation from sources that the U.S. government actually offered to provide the Philippine Air Force with at least 12 using the Bell AH-1W Super Cobra attack helicopter as part of the U.S. military assistance program to the Philippines. The Super Cobras are mostly around 30 years old now, but are still capable assets compared to even many new armed or attack helicopters in the market. These helicopters can also be upgraded, although probably paid separately by the PAF later on to AH-1Z Viper standards, as the USMC originally planned to upgrade them until they changed their mind and decided to buy new Vipers instead. Based on information we received, the U.S. was willing to start hot transfer of some of the AH-1W Super Cobras as early as next year if the DND signs the USFMS contract before year-end, with the PAF planning to acquire more single-engined AH-1F Cobras which are even older than the AH-1W Super Cobras. The PAF would be better off getting the AH-1Ws instead. The Jordanian Cobras would be relegated to training role for these incoming assets. To further support the plan to acquire either the used Super Cobras or new Vipers, the PAF's 15th Strike Wing itself was said to have already started pushing for this acquisition as an alternative to the T129 Atak. Apparently many in the PAF already anticipates that the DND will reach a stumbling block in the deal with Turkey, and they have prepared an alternative based on acquiring used Bell AH-1W Super Cobras, and if possible, new Bell AH-1Z Viper attack helicopters. With the MD helicopter's MD-520MG Defender fleet already in need of a replacement soon, the 15th Strike Wing believe that going for used AH-1W Super Cobras is the fastest and best alternative they have. It would be remembered that several PAF pilots and ground crew have already been receiving some experience with the Bell AH-1W Super Cobra since these helicopters are regular participants in yearly PH-US joint military exercises like Exercise Balikatan and KAMANDAG.